Look across the scope of the site, it's just a wonderful lay, and I can see the main facility being constructed here. Buses would be on this end, parent loops would be on the far end, and it just has a lot to offer. But in looking for a school site, the state has certain criteria that must be met. After we've met the basic criteria, the required criteria of the state, then I try to scan all of the properties of that area to see how many properties have 1,300 feet of clear road frontage. Very, very few. So in essence, we have to buy multiple sites from multiple property owners that adjoin in order to do this. And we did that with this one here. It's not about just this school site, but where will the next one be and the next one be? Because there needs to be some type of spatial relationship between schools so that in the end, we don't put schools too close to one another. And in doing so, that creates a lot more traffic and busing all to one area. I write proposals for boundary surveys, for topographical surveys. Then I write proposals for geotechnical, the soil borings of the property, as well as environmental. And we conduct all of those types of exploratory type of engineering tasks. Obviously, if a site is cleared and it's in cultivation, that's a tremendous saving to the school system, because that's $4,000 or $5,000 an acre that you would spend per acre just clearing and grubbing a school site. I like to look at topo. What's the topography? How does it look? This site, wow, it is probably as level as I've ever purchased from this Columbia area to the northern part of our state. So it has a great topo to it. That was so attractive. And then, of course, the sight lines were almost straight in one direction to another. And I had over 1,400 feet of road frontage. So those were big pluses. Part of the due diligence too, I look for infrastructure, water, sewer. You know, is it available? If not, where do we have to go? And many times we have to extend these services to connect some distant place away. But here it's right on the road. And so those are already available. Well, in terms of the traffic study, I would say, first of all, I've never been asked for a traffic study in my years. It's not in the state requirements, but nevertheless, we want to cooperate. We want to make certain that a school is safe, that it does provide for a safe ingress, egress for parents who are bringing their children and for those who come to teach there and to serve in that school district. So this traffic study is complete. It clearly states that all the improvements can be done within the confines of the property we're buying. So there's no improvements required away from the school site. And that's what we had anticipated. And I would say that probably a majority, and I can assure you, over a majority of the school sites that I have purchased have been properties that were not offered for sale at that moment. Again, we're trying to see what is the best available out there with all the geographical characteristics as well as the central location where students would be. And so as we look at all of those kind of things, this site was ideal. So after I do the work on computer, looking at all the GIS available properties, I try to narrow the list to 2 or 3. In this case, I wrote the property owner a letter and said who I am. I had never talked to this person before. I didn't know this person before. Came to find out he actually was reared on this property. He's my age, and but has just a wonderful feeling about service. And so I wrote him a letter, and typically my letter will say, I'll give you a couple weeks, I'll call you, or you can call me on my number. So after that period of time, we connected, and he said, well, yeah, I would be happy to talk about that, because education is so important to our school system and to our children. And so these things we reach out to. Most of them, again, are not properties for sale, but we're looking not for the average property. We're looking for the property that will best suit the needs of our school system. The school will develop a legacy of itself in the years to follow. A typical school is going to last 50 to 75 years. So there will be a lot of children who will enter those doors, and then they can reflect back over their years. This is where I went to school, and it was in my community. It was not somewhere away, 15 miles away. And I think also the school develops an identity for the community. People relate there, and they'll start coming there. They'll have different types of gatherings there. There are playground activities outside, and there'll be most likely some type of a walk-in places there. So it's an outlet place for the community, that the community can draw ties to the school. Not only what can it give to me, but what can I give to my school? And that's what's so important about life. Life is not about me, but what can I do to enhance the educational opportunities of our children?